Well, as you can see, I'm wearing this basketball jersey, and the reason I'm wearing it is because when I was in school, I spent quite a number of years playing basketball, and so in this episode, I'm going to talk about that experience. Um, it all it all started. Hello, welcome back to Al Talks. This podcast I started 3 years ago to chronicle me starting stand up. This podcast is a weekly podcast. It comes out once a week, and this is just a small little introduction video into the podcast. So down below in the description of each episode, you can go to my link tree and find links to everything connected to me. This podcast is available on YouTube, which you're watching it on right now, and also on Spotify. But yeah, that is just a small introduction into this podcast and everything that goes along with it. Hello, welcome back to another episode. And I had written down a couple of episode ideas a little while back in my phone, and this is just one of the episodes I had written down. So, what do I want to do for this episode? Oh, yes. Well, as you can see, I'm wearing this basketball jersey, and the reason I'm wearing it is because when I was in school, I spent quite a number of years playing basketball, and so in this episode, I'm going to talk about that experience. Um, it all it all started off in primary school. Now in Ireland, the school system here is a bit different because, like for example, in Russia, like it's you do like 1 to 11 classes. Kids usually don't go to school until about 7 or 8. So when you finish school in Russia, like you depending on when you started, you could be between the age of 18 and 19. So it is also possible for you to finish when you're 17 if you're just going to school a lot earlier. Because, like, essentially at 4, we like send kids to kindergarten, and then from 4 till 7. Usually 7. Like, I think I was 7 when I went to school. I think my sister might have been, or was I 8? Like, no, I think my sister was 7. I think I might have been 8. I'm not sure. But yeah, so you start off school at a different age, whereas in Ireland, they don't. Kindergarten is kind of built. Well, like I mean, a lot of kids when they're small, but like basically from the age they were toddler till about 4, they're in creche, and then they go into school starting at 4. But they'd have like 2 introductory classes, like junior infants and senior infants, and then they go into first class. And then after that, you're in there from first class to sixth, and then after that's primary school. And after that, you go to secondary school. Now, when I was in primary school in the fifth and sixth class, we had we had PE, like physical education, or as in the US you'd call it gym, and we used to play basketball. We had a basketball coach come down. I think it was like once a week. I think it was Thursday or Friday. His name was Paddy Malani. Very good basketball coach. He trained a couple of the schools around our town, because where I went to primary school, it is like out in the countryside. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's like maybe I don't know the distance, but it's about 4 or 5 kilometers outside of, give or take. So yeah, so Paddy McNally was training us, and our class, I think it was like 30 kids. Because you see, I'm 6'2", 188 centimeters. But I've been that height since I was maybe about 14, which I was tall. Like I was very like in primary school. I was very very good at basketball. I was one of like the best players. Like not to toot my own horn or anything. So when I got into secondary school, there is there's essentially 6 years, but year 4 is optional. So 1 to 3 years is called the junior cycle, and the five and six is the senior cycle. year four, you do like work experience in places. You like organize, help the school organize events. They bring you places. I, I, I think it was designed for people who are way too young to finish school. Like if you don't want to, if you're like going to be 17 when you're finishing school, then you essentially use this year to kind of finish when you're 18 if you want. I don't know. I didn't do it. Um, there were some people in my class that did do it and stuff, but I like when I was in school. I just want to get out of there as soon as possible because I liked it and didn't like it. But yeah, so when I got into first year, I signed up for the basketball team and I played throughout all the 5 years. Our basketball team had great success throughout the 5 years. I won two medals from that and one trophy. We got to the finals of basically the Midland school leagues, and we got our asses whooped by a boarding school because the boarding school they practiced like obviously you live in a boarding school, you live in the school, so you practice. They were practicing basketball 5 days a week, whereas we could only train twice a day, twice a week, and obviously, and they were also very very good. That year, both our junior and senior teams made it to the final, and we got our asses handed to us by these boys. I think they were called Wilsons. I think the boarding school was called Wilsons. Wilsons or Harolds, I can't remember. I should remember because that defeat was quite embarrassing, beating both our senior and junior team. But yeah, I spent, what, about 6, 7 years playing basketball. I don't do it anymore now. There is adult leagues, but I sustained an injury, and I don't think could be very well. I know it's not wise. That's why I'm not doing it. But I do miss it. I used to watch it on TV a lot as well. If basketball is on TV, I'll have it like, especially like at Fibbers. They show a lot of sports on the TV and stuff. Like if it's on, I'll watch it. Because it's interesting to me. One of my favorite teams was LA Lakers for a very very long time. I like them. Lakers is probably one of the greatest basketball teams ever alive. How basketball was invented was interesting as well. The reason it's called basketball is because when it was first invented, I can't remember what place it was invented in exactly, but it where was it invented? I think I'll Google it. Let me give me a second. So basketball was invented. Actually, I thought it was later, but it was in the winter of 1891 by a 30-year-old uh, PE instructor in Springfield, Massachusetts, just like The Simpsons, at an international YMCA training school. And the person who invented it is James Naismith. So there you have it. But essentially, he invented this game to, basically to have kind of a sport in between football and baseball seasons. And that's when, because over in the US, like the sporting seasons are very, very big. So, but yeah, so they were using like a peach basket, and he nailed it to like a pole, and that's where you throw the ball. And he eventually cut a hole in the bottom of the basket, so that's where the term basketball came from. What the fuck is going on with this computer? But anyway, so because like those, in those baskets were valuable back in 1891. I know it's funny now you can buy like 50 million of them for 3 cents in any supermarket around the world. But back in the day, they were woven baskets. They were valuable. So for them to actually cut the things was a big thing back in the day. But look at where we are now. Um, I don't think I want to talk anymore about. Actually, on this basketball jersey, well, this is like a Jordan's training shirt. My sister got stuff printed. So on the back is my surname and number letters 23, which were Michael Jordan's numbers, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He was definitely one my idol when I was used to play. In secondary school, we had a couple of different coaches for basketball, but the last two coaches we had were Brendan and Paddy. And Brendan now worked. He does. He used to coach college basketball as well. I don't think he does it anymore. But me and him have actually become friends outside of school, and because we're just like a similar friend group now. And I remember when I first started, like, being in a similar friend group, I was like, I used to coach in basketball back in the day. He was like, get out of here. I don't know why I said get out of here, but yeah, it was a fun little kind of throwback moment and whatnot. But I think that is come back to my time. I'm glad I've done this episode because it's one I want to do for a little bit about basketball and stuff like that. I'm just trying to think of anything else that I need to add to this. No, not really. Like I said, I don't play basketball anymore because I got an injury and it'd be unwise. Um, I watch it every now and again, but I wouldn't be like, I don't follow the Lakers anymore. I don't really know much about the NBA now. It's all different players and stuff like that. I had a thought that I might go back and follow it, but I don't know. It's kind of difficult to get like US sports over here in Europe because they're fucking annoying us all the time. It's shit. But I don't think I have any other things I want to add to the basketball stuff. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's a great sport, and I had definitely had a fun time playing it in school and stuff like that throughout the years. Well, like I said, when it's on TV, I watch it, but that's about the extent of the basketball that goes on. But yeah, so that's this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thank you for support for the past 3 years. And I shall see you all next week. Bye bye.